again, everybody. I'm BrianTheBlue, and welcome back to Current Calamities, where I take a break from the past to look forward to the future with the games of the present.
Paper Mario the Origami King, the sixth entry into Mario's RPG/action-adventure series, which has the characters made of paper for reasons unbeknownst.
It's like all of a sudden, hooah! I'm made of paper now. Why?
I've played one Paper Mario game in my life, that being Super on the Wii. And I've also played the precursor to the series, Super Mario RPG. So I've experienced some of the better titles there is, and you could put me on the record saying Super Paper Mario is a solid game. I will fight anyone with a pair of scissors and rocks.
Now, I'm aware the series has been through some highs and lows, especially in the eyes of the fanbase. When I saw the reveal for this game, I also saw many choice words. I'm indifferent on the matter. I haven't played the necessary ones to understand exactly why the series is so great, but I know what I like in my Mario games, so let's see how this entry unfolds.
The adventure begins much like the rest, as Mario and Luigi are invited to Peach's castle to take part in the Origami Festival taking place today. We arrive to no one in sight,
which may be a good thing, because who does want to be the recipient of a Luigi death stare?
They decide to go to Peach's castle to see the princess herself to see what's going on. One locked door later, and Mario finds Peach looking a little different. Must be the cardboard wig. She asks some strange, albeit eerie questions to which we swiftly refuse. That leads us to some bad puns and getting sent through a trap door, where we witness some common foes being taken somewhere we're not allowed to see.
But that's not all, no.
Mario begins to hear noises of someone stuck in between dimensions, and by standing upon this hand symbol, Mario is gifted the ability of the 1,000-fold arms. The motion controls are a little weird, but you can turn that off in the settings, but this basically is used to rip something that may be hard to reach, and you never know what you can find, like here's this Olivia character. We don't get far into introductions before we decide to make our way out of here, so we do so. And I'm gonna briefly summarize the next events. We find Bowser strung up, witnessing something happening to his minions. We find our trusty hammer and rescue folded Bowser as well. We also find our way out, up, and around the castle, running into Peach again in the process. Refuse to join them again, find out what happens to one of the minions, and get into a fight with it, but I'll come back to that. After defeating the Goomba, the yellow shy guy reveals himself to be Ollie, Olivia's brother. He plans to turn the Paper Mario world into full-on origami, the first part of the plan being to take the castle in streamers. We escape the onslaught no thanks to a brave and still flat shy guy, but a rogue stream hits us out of the cart, separating everyone from the chaos occurring.
An alright start to this storybook. I'll get to my critiques in a second, but there's still plenty to go, so bear with me.
So we recover from our fall into a tree and try to find Olivia, all the while learning the new feature to this game, collecting confetti. Confetti can be collected by hitting anything with your hammer and can be used to fill holes big or small that are scattered about. Filling the holes will reward you with coins and progression, and a completion bonus if you find them all in an area. Once Mario finds Olivia, we explore the forest, eventually getting lost not by choice due to this here stump and all the forest trees. We have to help him be a tree again by finding a special seed so we can get out ourselves, so we try to do so. During this point, I also came across my first problem with this game. Olivia never shuts up. I've been through plenty of tutorials, so I get it at the start, but after getting past this forest, she still talks a lot, and I mean a lot. It gets pretty annoying to the point she's pretty much the new Navi every time I hear that. She does come in handy when you are lost, but she isn't funny most of the time, nor is she compelling enough to make me care about her or her sibling troubles. Anyway, we find the seed and have to make a mad dash to Grand Sappy, who we find in ruin. But with a touch-up of confetti, we bring him back to form, and with the seed he wanted us to find, we get...
Hi, what is this? Tell me, comment section, are there racial undertones here somewhere?
After that unforeseen yet abysmal music number, we get out of the forest as soon as we can, making our way back to Toad Town. And I think now's a good time to go over the battling in this game. Let's call it turn-based with a twist, quite literally. The object is you have to try and line up the enemies in an appropriate formation for you to attack. Do it correctly to the game's liking and you get a power-up boost. As far as I played, you have two ways of attack, either with your boots or with your hammer. You can find additional items scattered around which can be stronger against tougher foes, but if you time the attack just right, you may do just as much damage. On occasion, there may be a wave battle, and when you destroy all foes, you'll get some coins for your efforts. It's pretty simple when you get down to it, but there is a problem which I think has plagued the series since Sticker Star. There is no reason to fight. I can argue that other than bosses, there is no real reason you should fight any common enemy in the game, as it is not worth it most of the time. You'll most likely be forced to fight them at certain points, which sucks because it still isn't worth it then. You don't gain much from fighting, no experience especially. Sure, you can get coins, but I would argue it's better to fill the holes to get them rather than fighting enemies. Granted, it took me a while to figure this out, but hindsight is not found. The only real reason I can think of for when it's reasonable to fight an enemy is when you're low on confetti. They usually dump plenty. But still, that can be found everywhere too, so again, what is the point? To waste items? Waste your coins? Wait, you can add time to the counter by giving up coins?
Is this the game to really test out how microtransactions work? Battling is whack, but unfortunately that made up a good percentage of the footage I captured. I played a fair amount of this game, about 7 hours, so if you want me to continue on, I'm just going to tell you now, potential spoiler warnings are afoot. It gets really weird.
So we make it back to Toad Town to find it overran by these macho Goombas. They're surprisingly easy to take down and are ripe with confetti when you do so. Another new mechanic is rescuing toads that have been folded up in random places. Finding them rewards you with a coin and them cheering you on in the stands. They also take coins if you want them to cheer you on, but I never gave them a hint of my gold. We get sidetracked doing other things, but we finally reach the castle again and find Luigi still in one piece. He pieces out, and we decide to follow the nearest streamer to see if we can destroy it in order to be one step closer to getting the castle back. Now on that travel, I learned some valuable lessons. The first one being, side quests are main quests. No matter what, everything so far is going to tie together into the plot. Like, I didn't think much of this shellstone BS, but it turns out it's a lead into one of the main boss fights in the game, and it actually makes Olivia useful too. But before that, I also learned that it's a good idea to save often. If you're a new player like me, it'd be best to do so you don't have to restart way farther back when you do die from stronger foes. Again, best to avoid any fight you can, but I wish they could have also told me how to block earlier in the game and not when I'm just about to fight my first boss. On that subject, we recover the stones and head into the temple exhibit where after traversing some traps and puzzles, we find the earth Vellumental, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, which we must fight for a reason that'll make sense later. But I also want to add this point to the boss fight with the first guardian of the streamer, the colored pencils, as they both have the same mechanics and whatnot.
Both of which I still didn't like.
They're more complex than regular enemies, as they should be, but I think they're overly complicated for no real reason, and they're also a pain in the ass, not in a fun way either. I'm seriously thinking the series is going through an identity crisis. I have no idea if it wants to be an RPG or a game with RPG elements. Whatever it wants to be, either way, it wasn't fun for me at all, especially when I found out that Olivia could become the Vellumental and I had to sit through this.
Mario, what are you doing? Hey, no, wait, stop. I don't mean those claps. I took a quick break after that and played the game in my spare time. I also got some footage of my exploits, which I'm gonna rush through right now.
We meet Bob-omb on the way to the blue streamer and have to rescue him a few times en route to the water elemental. He stays outside while we venture forth into the temple, solving trash lighting puzzles and getting into more crap fights. Eventually fighting one of the worst boss fights I've ever done, but now we get to see Olivia puke the most realistic water to date. We then travel downstream into a river minigame thing, kinda calling me back to Mario RPG a bit. Then we arrive at Shogun Studios, a theme park.
Prob's not related to Super Nintendo World, and Prob's not as fun either.
Now the theme park has been overtaken by the Origami threat, and we gotta free the staff and get the blue streamer out of here. I'll be honest, knowing what I said previously by now, the game got to be a breeze, and I may have enjoyed it. But the side quest of finding the key to the castle slowed the action down, and by the way, I forgot to mention there are actual collectibles to be found throughout the game in sections. Found quite a few when I was at the studio. Anyhow, we find the key and get to the showroom where we watch and participate in several origami plays, like your typical outlaw show, West Side Story, ballet, and fight this rubber band man who was slightly easier, but still bullshit in some places. After rescuing all the staff, they give us a show we'll never forget, which somehow triggers Bob-omb's memories, none of which he cares to share, but maybe we'll learn later as we make off and search for the third yellow streamer. That's about all I can stomach, really. A definite mixed bag of sorts, with many colors of confetti. I'm not sure if I will touch the game after this review is over, but I guess I came away with why some of the fan base is frustrated with the series and the direction it's going. Nintendo is trying to reinvent the wheel, and it isn't working out fully. Some tweaks are needed for sure. The first one being, oh god, please no, please no!
So with all that being said, what's my overall opinion?
Paper Mario has been through a lot in its days, both good and bad, and this entry just seems to mix both. The Origami King starting off it's something for sure. Some things it does good, other things it does just plain bad. The story is fine and the humor can land on the odd occasion, but it isn't perfect by any stretch, and the battling and other mechanics are either useless or worthless. I don't know what the future holds for this series. It could get better, but it seems bleak. If the paper puns are anything to go by, we could be in for more paper crossovers. I wouldn't be against something like the Comic Crusader, but if they get the battling figured out, maybe there'll be hope that we don't have to recycle this series after all. So what do you think? Do you agree with me, or have your own thoughts? Let me know by leaving a comment. If you like what you see, like the video with those thumbs up. If you think anyone else would like this vid, share it around. And if you want to see more of me, this show, and others, hit the subscribe button. I'm BrianTheBlue, thanks for watching. I'm going back to the past, and until next time, I'll see you in the future.